Sandy Says Read. Welcome to the channel. Today we are going to do a review and discussion of A Deadly Game by MB Dabney. Now, this is a David Blaise mystery novel. It's the second in the series. It's the second to be released in the series, although I think this is a prequel to An Untidy Affair. An Untidy Affair was released 2 years ago. I should have looked that up, right? I think it was released in 2021, I believe. You can look that up yourself. An Untidy Affair is a David Blaise mystery novel as well. I believe this one is a prequel to it, but this is the second in the series, and they're not tied together. This is a complete encapsulated mystery novel. You get the whole story, a nice fancy ending to the story. The whole thing gets wrapped up in here. It's very nicely done. So let's go over the specs for this story. A Deadly Game. It was released here in 2023 by Per Bustet Publications, and it is 236 pages. What we have happening here, I wrote down my own summary for it, you guys. Someone killed Henry Cummings in Stuart's love nest, and Stuart would prefer his wife not find out. So enter all the dilemmas for David Blaise. Stuart is David's brother-in-law. So Stuart and Valerie, they're family for David. So Stuart calls David up one day and is like, oh my gosh, I need you to look into this murder that took place. And David's like, well, that's kind of strange. Why would you be, my brother-in-law, why would you be asking me to look into a murder? He's like, well, it happened at this house that my company owns. Yeah, right. So David is like, okay, let me look into it for you. And the weirdness and the mysteries and the implications of Stuart being the baddie just keep piling up and piling up and piling up. But there are all these other characters that could be the baddies, right? Because MB Dabney does a great job with this mystery novel. We have, Valerie, the sister. She's not a baddie. We have Stuart, who could be the bad guy. We have Larry Centerton and Leslie King. These are the two accountants, landlords that David rents his office building from, his office space from, right? These two, they're kind of weird and mysterious, and something's going on there. And David is looking into something for one of his accountant landlords. That's a little bit weird and shifty, right? So there's something weird going on there. Then we have these mobsters, these two warring mobster mafia guys coming into play, and maybe they're involved, right? And boy, howdy, they probably are. Then we have this new economic development guru who's come into town, and she might be involved. I mean, we've got all these different players who come into the story, intricately woven together. It's very well done. I was quite pleased with MB's writing style. He gives David not really a sardonic wit, but a nice clever wit throughout the story. You know, he's not busting your gut all the time. I mean, you're not laughing out loud in this story. It's a mystery, and you're following along. You're seeing the clues, and you're trying to figure out, okay, who done this? Who killed Henry Cummings, and why? And how are all these players interconnected? So you're not really like laughing out loud at these things. It's not a romantic comedy, right? But there are just these little clever quips thrown in there that make you go, ha, every once in a while. And where did I put this one? I folded the page down so I could show you guys. For example, David is, when he's in his office and he answers the phone, he'll get some weird news or some weird, summons to go see like the police officer, the head detective at the police force. And it's just constant, right? And he's getting sick of it. And so he says, I vowed to stop answering the phone. And it's just one quick sentence at the end of this whole phone conversation that has happened, and he's been summoned to the police station again. He's like, oh, I vowed to stop answering the phone. Just this quick little bit of humor that happens in there. Nicely done. Okay, now you guys, you know how I like to give you a quick little reading in these reviews, as we do, so that you can kind of get a flavor for a feeling of the author's writing style. So let's do that. On page 212, we have one of the bad guys, one of the mobster's henchmen, if you would like to call him that, Big Sally. He has abducted our private eye. He's got David in the car, and David is driving at gunpoint, and Big Sally is giving him orders. He's going to kill him, right? I mean, David's in danger, so the suspense is building. But again, there's a little bit of that humor thrown in here, so we're kind of feeling David's personality, even though he's in a lot of danger, and he's thinking as quick as he can about how am I going to get out of this, right? So here we go. So Big Sally is speaking. He says, "Slow down or I'll pop your ass right here and now." "I doubt that. Not at this speed," I said as I opened the sunroof, approaching 75 miles per hour. The lights on the cars heading in the opposite direction were becoming a blur. Having the correct seat position is essential to efficiently operate any motor vehicle. Being able to reach the steering wheel without overextending your arms, having the mirrors in the proper position for seeing, reaching the pedals without effort, all are important. Not so much this time. I pushed the seat back as far as it would go, making it harder to keep my right foot on the throttle. But I did. 78, 79, 80 miles per hour, and the idiot in the passenger seat was now facing me, banging his hand, which still held a gun, against the dashboard as he yelled. He was still unbuckled. If we crashed at that speed, he'd be thrown from the car. Not a good prospect for him. The cold February air made the skin on my face tingle as it rushed in through the open windows. Isn't that nice? Isn't that just very well done? I mean, we still have our senses engaged. We still have this little sense of humor percolating through. It's very nicely done. You guys, I can recommend A Deadly Game by MB Dabney. Nicely done, good mystery, good ending, good satisfying ending. All these characters who are interwoven come into play very nicely, and you can follow along and you figure out who did it along with David, and it's like, yeah, got it. It's just nicely wrapped up, nicely done. I can recommend it. So what do we do now? Oh yeah, thumbs up for good, satisfying mystery stories. And you know, guys, please subscribe to the channel. And when you subscribe, you have to click that little bell notification icon so that you're notified each time I do random stuff here. Thanks for tuning in.